Hi, fellow marketers. Professor Walters here, and today we're in Paris. Today we're going to talk about some of the major types of online advertising, so you know what are some of the options out there. Now, there's a lot more than what I'm talking about, but I'm just going to give you like the top 7 ways you're going to see people advertising online. And I think probably the one you're noticing probably the most when you're online are what are called display ads. And display ads, they'll show up on websites. You know those little banners that are on the top there, that pop-up that comes up when you're going to a website? Those are just traditional, just normal types of display ads, and just displays and shows. It's kind of like, the good old days when you have advertisements that just display things like that, and so you'd have those. Now, what's nice about the display ads, hey, it's visually appealing. We can get the reach out there. We can put those banner ads all over the place. I mean, let's be honest, every single game you play on your phone, every single YouTube video you see on the side, whenever you're going through, there's some kind of display ad that pops up. So it can be creative, it can be beautiful, it can go all over the place, which is really, really cool. However, there are some drawbacks to these display ads. One, you have this thing called banner blindness. I mean, how many of you actually notice the ads that are at the bottom of a website or the top of the website or on the side here? You literally become blind to it because you're like, it's irrelevant to me, so I don't even look at it. So therefore, people aren't even noticing the ads that are there. So that can be a problem. Also, there's ad blockers out there that can literally block the ads that show up on websites. So that can be another thing when you're looking at the cons of those display ads. But I will say display ads are probably the most popular ones you're going to see in terms of the number of ones you see all the time. Now, the second kind of online advertising we're going to talk about are search ads. And these are ads that are really made when people are searching for a specific topic, then the ad self-populates. So that's in your Google searches, your Bing searches, these kind of things. When you search on, hey, best metro stops in Paris, boom, what comes up? Those kind of ads there, that's what happens. So if you're looking for college, you say, hey, what's the best college in Paris? What's the best university to study abroad at in Paris? That's what you're going to be searching for, right? And what's cool about it, these search ads, people are only seeing your ad when they're specifically searching for the topics that you're talking about, which is really great because then it's a very high intent. They're like, look, they're really looking for the best places to study abroad in Paris, and that's going to help you out. Now, the thing is, those search ads are very, very effective. I think another really tough thing about it is those search ads, I mean, I'll be honest with you, they can be very expensive, especially if you're picking things that are like really, really like high, competition kind of things like best hotel in Paris. There's going to be a lot of places that are competing for that, so it's going to cost you more to be on that sponsored post for best hotel in Paris because there's tons and tons of hotels competing for that. Now, another thing you're going to see are what are called social ads, and these are the ads that just show up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. When you see the Instagram carousel that goes by with like a bunch of different ads, it's like, hey, swipe up to learn more. Thing is, I want to say, when you're looking at social ads, you're not talking about using an influencer. You're talking about ads your company makes themselves, okay? Because we're going to talk about influencers for online ads later, okay? But when we're looking at this, what's cool is you get great targeting because, again, it's your audience. You can pick who it goes to. Also, you can use visuals to be very helpful. I mean, how many times have you stopped to look at an ad just because it was visually stunning or it was kind of cool or was something viral about it? So it can be very helpful, and they can go viral, which is really, really cool. However, the downside to these social ads, one, there is a learning curve to know what works and what doesn't work when it comes to social ads. Because if it just seems like an ad, a lot of people, again, go to that kind of, remember the banner blindness kind of pops up in social media as well. Also, the algorithms change so much that you really have to keep up with it all the time to see what is the best way to advertise on social. And that's why you'll see people making new, classes of how to hack the YouTube algorithm with your ads, how to hack the Facebook algorithm with your ads, because there's so many things changing all the time that you got to keep up with it. And so those people that sell those courses, they always have new content they can make because there's constantly changing. And so advertisers, that can be quite frustrating because you can have a social campaign that does really, really great, and then you do something very similar 6 months later and it does nothing. Next up, you have video ads. And video ads, if you're watching this on YouTube, did you know there was a pre-roll ad, the ad that came before the video? Or if this video is more than 8 minutes long, there might be an ad that pops up in the middle that's called a mid-roll ad, or you can have at the very end what's called a post-roll ad. You have those there. And the thing is, they can be very effective because you can make them very engaging. You can make it so it's like another YouTube video, so that can be very helpful. You have all those visuals and audio things that can really help sell. But the thing is, when you're making the video content, sometimes you have to realize it's not cheap. It's expensive to make those video ads. It's like you're making a mini TV show or a TV ad out there because you have to film it, you have to edit it, you have to have all the people that deal with it. So it can be quite pricey. And also, how many people do you know the highlight of their day is to hit that skip ad button down at the bottom of YouTube? Well, that can be problematic itself. That's why companies pay more to have the non-skippable ads. Now, next up, you have what are called native ads. These native ads, basically what you're looking here is like ads that'll show up like within a blog or within a news feed kind of thing, like Those ones just show up, they show up naturally because it's based on what people have been searching for, based on people have been looking at, what websites they've gone to. Like those kind of things are much more natural ads. So it kind of makes sense. Like, oh, I'm looking up all this stuff on Paris. And then within my feed, there's things about the best day trips in Paris. It's much more of a natural kind of thing. And so when you see these native ads, you'll see it like labeled like sponsored. And the thing is, these native ads, they're much more made to look more like a normal post, a normal kind of scrolling experience, and so that can be very effective. But the thing is, and they're not disruptive, which is cool, but the problem with it is sometimes it kind of blurs that line between an ad and content, and sometimes people aren't sure, wait, did I watch an ad or was that a show I was supposed to watch? It's kind of like back in the day when we didn't have those infomercials at 1 o'clock in the morning. It'd be for like Bowflex, but there was a whole story about the motocross guy doing things and how Bowflex helped him win again. You're like, wait, was this a story about a guy and his motorbike, or is this a Bowflex commercial? Like, sometimes you have that kind of awkwardness in there, especially if you're using product placement. You're not sure, did that person use the product placement because they were paid or it's because they liked it? Okay, so there are some things to do with that. Now, probably the most effective way you could actually get people to buy your products when it comes to advertising online is retargeting ads. You ever look something up like on Amazon or eBay, and then you go to Facebook and there's an ad for that product in your Facebook feed? Yes, those are retargeting ads, because what you're doing, instead of trying to get a new person to like your product, what you're doing is you're retargeting ads directly at people that showed interest in your product already. That's why you want people to, let you have their cookies go. They can see where you went, what you looked at, and you remind them. That's why, if you ever notice, if you're, you put some stuff in your, your shopping cart on Amazon, and you don't buy it, you might get an email in a few days saying, hey, you left some stuff in your cart. And that inspires people to buy. And the thing is, it's really, really effective because people are like, oh yeah, I do have that in there, or they're waiting for that extra little push to buy something. So that does work. However, I will say some of the drawbacks to this is, have you ever noticed when you're talking about something and it seems like it shows up in an ad in your feed? Yeah, it looks a little creepy, or like, wait a minute, I was just on Amazon, now it showed up in my Instagram feed. What's going on here? It does give some ethical issues and some privacy issues that people get really freaked out about. So that's one of the drawbacks to it. But overall, it is extremely effective getting people to buy things that they showed interest in. And the 7th online advertising I want to talk about is influencer marketing. And we've got tons of videos on influencer marketing on here, but basically what you're doing is you're using influencers on social media, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, whichever social media platform they're on. You're using their fame, and you're using their credibility and their level of trust to help sell your product. And that's really good, because you know what? If that YouTuber uses your product and talks about it, their audience sees the product. Okay, so it's a whole new niche audience you can be getting to. But also, since they have trust in that person likes the product or talks about the product, they're probably more willing to buy it. So it really helps you kind of build trust quickly, because you're taking the trust that people have in that influencer and associating that with your product or service. Now, the downside of influencer marketing, one, it can be expensive, if you're going to be paying these influencers all these kind of things, but you can set that up with affiliate marketing, so you only pay them when they sell things, so that can be nice. But also, you have to worry about the influencers you work with, because you have influencers that are doing bad things. That bad thing can be associated with your brand. So it's really important you really assess the influencer and see if there's somebody you really want to work with if you're going to do that, okay? Now, those are just some of the more major types of online advertising. There's other things out there we can talk about, but I just want to give you a rough idea of some of them out there so you have an idea what you could use when you're looking to advertise online. Anyway, I'll say bye from here in Paris.